Last time, I created a detector which correctly identified the hand symbol for Y in 93.5% of the test images. And in this video, I want to bring everything together by building the final application that opens up a YouTube page whenever the Y hand sign is detected through my computer's webcam. The first step is to create a pickle of the detector object and save as a file for later access. I tried to do this alongside the code used to evaluate the detector, but I got a memory error. However, commenting out the evaluation portion of the script fixed the issue. The problem seems to have come from having the large test dataset on memory, so depending on your computer, you may or may not run into this error. Once I had a pickled version of the detector, I created another program called Final Application. Here I loaded the detector object from the pickle file and created a list called detector history, which will store the last 20 results from the detector. If the majority of values are 1, then my code will open youtube.com. The reason why I'm designing my application this way is because my detector is not perfect, and so if we only see a single frame with a positive result, we'd still be uncertain about whether that is truly correct. However, if we see a sustained positive result, we can be more confident that the Y hand symbol is being presented. Anyways, I set up an infinite while loop which uses the OpenCV library to capture frames from my webcam, grayscale them, and then resize their dimensions. After that, all the pixel values are passed into the detect method and the result is stored in detector history. Finally, we check to see if there are at least 12 ones stored in history. If that is the case, then we call the open YouTube method and wait for 3 seconds before resetting everything and continuing with the looping process. For the open YouTube method, I just had it temporarily display text in the window. After we get the rest of our application working the way we intended, we'll change this to actually open the YouTube site. When I first ran this code, I got an attribute error. I wasn't sure initially about what the issue was here, so I searched it up and I got an answer on Stack Overflow. Turns out that my script didn't have the detector class definition, and consequently, when it loaded the pickle file, it didn't recognize the object type. So I created a separate Python file with the class definition and imported it where it was necessary. When I ran again, I didn't get any errors, but the application didn't respond when I made the hand symbol. I initially suspected that my detector wasn't working as well as I hoped, but when I tried printing out each of the results, it seemed to be working pretty well. I took a second look at my code and I quickly realized that I had simply forgotten to increment the index variable I with each loop. Because of that, my code was only updating the first value of the history list. So I fixed that and retested. This time my code worked exactly as I had wished, so now it was time for the fun part, which was getting YouTube to open up. To do this, I just imported the OS module, and using the os.system method, I ran the system command start http://youtube.com. In retrospect, I should have used https instead, but it really doesn't matter because you'd anyways be redirected to the secured version of the site. So at last, after months of working on this project, I finally get to test the finished version of this program. I went ahead and ran it, and it worked really well, responding almost immediately after seeing the hand sign. I made another attempt and got the same result. With repeated testing, I did discover some false positives and false negatives, but despite that, this still exceeded my expectations, and I'm really happy with how this turned out overall. Now, even though I'm wrapping up this project, there are still many directions which I can take from here. Sometime in the future, I actually want to have a neural network recognize other ASL hand symbols. I'd imagine that distinguishing these hand signs from each other is a much more complex problem. So unlike in this project, I would try to utilize convolutional neural networks, or CNNs, which are a very popular choice for image analysis. But that's a topic for another video. Anyways, if you want to try this out for yourselves, I have all my code posted on GitHub for you to download. Let me know what kind of results you get. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.